All right, everybody, welcome back. We're diving deep today, getting into all those Galaxy S25 rumors that have been swirling around. We can't get enough of this stuff. And especially this one that's popped up about Samsung potentially ditching their own Exynos chips
Wow.
for some of the S25 models in favor of, get this, a MediaTek
Okay.
Dimensity processor.
Right.
So that's what we're going to unpack today because, this isn't just about the chips themselves, right?
Oh.
This is about what it tells us about where Samsung is going with their whole strategy.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it really is a big deal. So to kick things off, this report that everyone's been talking about, Samsung, forget Exynos, Snapdragon, cheapest Galaxy S25 could use MediaTek Dimensity chip.
Catchy title.
I know, right? It really grabs you. So first off, what makes this rumor, worth our attention?
Well, I mean, when you see a headline like that, right, and it's
Yeah.
talking about Samsung, one of the biggest names in the game,
Yeah.
potentially switching to a MediaTek chip,
Yeah.
which, let's be honest, hasn't always had the best reputation, right? People are going to talk.
Yeah.
But I think, to understand why this is such a big deal, we really got to start with the cost.
Okay, the cost.
Because, the rumor is that this MediaTek Dimensity 9400,
Okay.
it's significantly cheaper to produce.
Okay, so how much cheaper are we talking, like ballpark?
Like potentially 20% less expensive
Okay.
than the Snapdragon chip.
20%.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Which is, in the world of smartphone components, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, that's huge. And what does that actually mean for people like me who are going to buy the phone?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
Because, I mean, could it mean a cheaper S25? Potentially.
Okay, now we're talking, finally.
For Samsung to use a less expensive chip in their base model,
Okay.
that makes them much more competitive, especially in, markets where people are really price sensitive
Right.
and every penny counts.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I gotta ask, are we losing anything on the performance side here? Like, can this MediaTek chip really deliver what we expect from a flagship Samsung phone?
That's the big question,
Yeah.
right? Because nobody wants to buy a phone that's slow or laggy, especially when you're trying to, do the things you want to do. But here's the thing about the Dimensity 9400. It's not some, no-name, low-end chip.
Okay.
It's actually built using the same, cutting-edge technology as that Snapdragon chip we were just talking about.
So what you're saying is, they're built on the same, foundation.
Yeah, think of they both have the same engine, basically. So you're still getting that power and that speed, potentially.
Okay. But in terms of performance, are we talking like a Ferrari or like a Toyota?
Well, I'd say it's more like, you're getting a really well-made sports car, either way.
Okay.
Maybe with slightly different features and finishes, right?
Hmm.
The Dimensity has a really powerful CPU.
Okay.
It's comparable to the Snapdragon. Plus, it's got this GPU that's designed specifically for gaming. Making those graphics look amazing on your phone.
Yep.
And then handling all the AI stuff that's becoming, more and more common.
So you're saying this MediaTek chip, it's actually a contender?
Yeah, it's a serious contender.
Okay.
And that's what makes this whole thing so interesting, right?
Right.
Because it's not just about one phone or one chip.
Right, exactly.
This could be a sign of something much bigger happening at Samsung.
It's about the bigger picture.
Yeah, exactly. So what does this tell us about their strategy going forward? We've talked about those Exynos chips.
Right.
And maybe not always performing quite as well as some people hoped.
Right.
Maybe this is Samsung being smart
Okay.
and diversifying their supply chain, right?
Okay.
So they're not relying on just one chip maker.
Right.
It gives them more flexibility, potentially even some leverage in the market.
So, if Samsung's willing to make this move, right?
Yeah.
They're one of the biggest players in the game. Could this mean other companies might start looking at MediaTek more seriously?
Absolutely, yeah. If Samsung, with their resources and their reputation, are willing to put a MediaTek chip in their flagship phone,
Right.
and it performs well, it kind of sends a message, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah, it's like a stamp of approval.
Exactly.
So other companies, they might be thinking, well, hold on, maybe we need to reevaluate MediaTek here.
Right, because certainly they're not just that budget option anymore.
Right.
They're a legitimate player in the big leagues.
So what you're saying is this could completely change the landscape
Good, yeah.
of the chip market in general. Wow. Okay. Food for thought, everyone. So let's say for a second that this all happens, right?
Okay.
Base model S25 comes out. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
It's a huge hit. The performance is there.
Right.
And on top of all that, it's more affordable because of this MediaTek chip.
Right.
Does that force every other manufacturer out there to, like, rethink their entire chip strategy?
It's definitely possible. Because if Samsung can deliver a great phone at a great price,
Yeah.
and MediaTek is a big part of that equation,
Yeah.
it puts the pressure on everyone else, doesn't it?
So this could be the start of, like, a power shift in the mobile world.
Maybe.
That's crazy.
Something to keep an eye on, that's for sure.
I think so. Something to think about, right?
Definitely.
Next time you're, like, looking at those specs on your phone and trying to decide, what you're going to get. Because this could change the game entirely.
It really could.
Wow. Okay, well, on that note, let's go ahead and wrap up this deep dive. As always, everyone, thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
And we will catch you in the next one.